Hi, my name is Doreen Van Hout and today is October the 5th, 2025. I'm a visual artist based in Maine-et-Loire, France. What's your background? How does this impact how you see the world and create art? I grew up in a small village in France. That's probably where my love for nature and light was born. It's also where I learned to look at everyday life through a kind of poetic, magnifying glass to turn something ordinary into something unexpected. As a kid and a teenager, art was my way to escape, a space where I could express myself without limits. Now, I want to share that feeling and take people on a little trip through my imaginary worlds. Who are your biggest influences? I'd say my influences are pretty diverse. Artists like Basquiat, Monet, and of course Hayao Miyazaki, whose films still inspire me so much. Miyazaki probably influenced me the most. I watch his movie now with my little boy, maybe for the 20th time, and every time I find something new, something that hits differently. I love his reflection on identity, self-discovery, and our relationship with nature. It's funny how some works can stay with you your whole life and keep changing meaning as you grow. I'm also very inspired by Australian Aboriginal art. I've always been fascinated by the way they represent space, where the real and the spiritual coexist. It's an art form deeply connected to their culture, and I find it very relevant today, especially as we seem to lose our connection with the earth, with our digital world. Like them, I love using symbols and quotes and mixing the figurative and the abstract, the serious and the playful, the ordinary and the uncanny. What are you focusing on right now? Right now, my work explores the idea of harmony, how opposite elements can still live together. To do that, I borrow visual quotes from medical imagery, because to me, life at the cellular level is one of the most perfect and harmonious systems we can find. I'm currently working on 3 pieces that are part of a larger series of about 10. Through different mediums, I explore with a lot of details and a bit of humor the idea of violence, the kind that pushes us to conform, manipulation, ignorance, harassment. I'm trying to understand how we can coexist without producing that violence. I like to imagine viewers looking at my super colorful painting and wondering, should I smile or should I be worried? What's the biggest challenge of being an artist? The biggest challenge is finding balance between my creative time and the chaos of my daily life. I'm a mom, and I also have another job that has nothing to do with art. Art is wonderful, but it's also demanding. You spend a lot of time alone, wondering if what you're doing even makes any sense. But honestly, that doubt that keeps me going. It pushes me to explore further and sometimes to surprise myself. What advice would you give to your younger self? I would tell her that art isn't a race. It's more like an orienteering course. Sometimes you get lost in the forest, but eventually you always find a clearing. And trust me, that moment is always worth it. Have you ever tried any unconventional materials or techniques? Yes, before finding my current techniques, I experimented with a lot of things. Clay work, aluminium sculptures. I also studied film and visual arts, and at the time I made a few short films. I came back to painting a bit later, around the age of 20. Do you listen to music when you work, or do you prefer silence? I almost always paint with music on. It sets the mood, it keeps the rhythm, and it helps me to find the right balance between focus and flow. I honestly feel it boosts my creativity, and it just makes the process more joyful. What's the best reaction someone has had to your artwork? My favorite moment is when someone sees one of my paintings in person for the first time. They stop, lean in, and start exploring all the detail. There's this little spark of surprise, a mix of fascination and confusion. People often tell me there are a lot of people living in my head, and that always makes me laugh. What do you hope people take away from your work? I hope they leave with a good feeling, a positive emotion, something that stays with them. I want my painting to feel like big, colorful candies, playful and inviting, leaving behind a sweet taste, but also a little tinkle on the tongue that make you think. Further.